Okay, so let's finish our crash course by talking about the grid itself. Okay, so we have touched a bit of the grid here, but it was like related, so the source and the grid were related, especially for the fuel section. Okay, let's now go back to temperature and so on. Let's select this one. Let's make it like default state. Okay, hello. Let's disable the fuel. We have learned about the fuel and so on. Okay, now if you simulate, we get the usual fire there. Okay, that's it. So here we go to simulation are the usual, so you can resume they are, you can imagine they are there, resume, start and load and so on. Here the time starts and the time ends. By default is set to follow the timeline. Of course here you can read about the voxels and so on. Is 4.8 4 mega for the voxel and so on. So you got here some information about the simulation itself. Re-simulation is something that you maybe need to for in the future, but it's not the most important. So simulation also you can use it from here, and sometimes you use it to change the timeline, especially if the animation does not start from the frame 0. Okay, we got the grid. The grid is really important. It's kind of like it controls the look of the fire itself. It has the most important. So the scene scale, it's sometimes you need to make it faster or slower, so you can play with the scale. It helps sometimes, okay, to like cheat the look of the fire, because remember this one is like only 5 centimeters, which is wrong. We need at least to be like a bit bigger, like 30 or so, to get an accurate result. Okay, so you can help it maybe here with playing with the settings a bit. Here the cell size we have already talked, so it gives you here are the parameters to change the rectangular rectangle shape, so the grid itself. Of course, do not scale this one, do not use the scale this one, do not use the scale, because it will break everything and it gives you some weird issues that more headache for you than the usual. Okay, so here if you want to change, of course you can see the red and the purple. The red is the old size, and this one how it have changed to this result. Okay, you can use this button to increase, decrease and so on. Of course we need to delete this one in order to see the new information, so let's decrease it and keep it like here. Here is the container walls. If you want the fire to how to deal the fire with the walls, like here it's open. It means like when the fire reaches one of the sides of the container, it will kind of there is no wall there, so the fire will keep going upward like there is nothing. So it is really cool if the view is hidden, so the top or the bottom is hidden from the camera. So it's really good to use this open, because you won't be seeing the look of the fire, but the fire will look like it is keeping going up. We got here another type, which is gem. It has to react like there is a wall. It is from gem. So but here we need to do it on the Z, because they're upward. So let's do both. It means the bottom and the top. So you can see here it interacts with the wall, so you can see it's kinda the wall is stopping the fire and it starts spreading on it. So this is all for the open and gemmed features that are kinda really useful and will save you a lot of time if you use them well. Here, of course, sometimes you need the container to expand automatically based on, so you have a simulation here, then it goes up and you want it to expand, so you can say expand based on temperature, and you can limit the maximum expansion. So look, this one if we leave it, it will expand until this one, but we can reduce the size a bit, so like this. Okay, so like this. So now if we simulate, this one starts to change and starts to get bigger until it gets to this size. This helps you to, you know, to simulate a bit faster, because this box will be smaller before it starts expanding. But I usually try to hide always the box based on the camera, so actually to avoid wasting time, a lot of time in simulation. Here we go, the property of the look. I mean the look itself. So this one, it was, so for the grid, it was like, how to say, the quality of the voxels are controlled here. Here, dynamic is the look itself. So we got the inertia, we got the gravity, we got the time. So we can play with the time to make it slower or faster. Here we got the cooling, how much the file starts before it starts like stopping here. As you can see, it's a bit higher. We can maybe okay, let's go for the grid and disable this one. I don't want any expansion. Okay, we go, you can see the smoke is kinda like, we can like increase it, and you will see that the smoke dies quickly. So let's reduce it. This is the coolest thing about Phoenixfd. It gives you real-time update, but with small project. If you start simulating a big fire, everything will start to make no sense. Okay, so you can see, by playing with the settings this way, you will understand. So the smoke dissipation, we can like start killing the smoke, so the smoke will die faster. Smoke buoyancy, it makes like to go, this smoke to goes up or to goes down is the buoyancy. We can like just okay, let's go for the grid, make it open on both. And that's it. Let's resimulate. So you can see, let's go to dynamic, so the cooling, so the fire, so the smoke dissipation. We can go force it, the buoyancy will make the smoke goes down. You can see it here, it goes down instead of going up. So it helps like to create cold smoke and so on, to put it down. This is the buoyancy for the fuel and so on. So this is the surface, so you can play with the surface. So you can see the surface will change, the temperature of the surface and so on, large scale or not. So we can, this is not large scale, we can reduce it. Randomize, you can add a bit of random. Of course, there are examples on their websites to avoid wasting your time with the simulation and getting your CPU hotter. Here the fluidity, this is the method used, so there are a bit of differences. So you can go to their website and read about it very quickly. So direct symmetry and direct smooth and so on. This one is responsible to convert this one to convert, how to say, the fluid to fire and so on. This is the quality, so they are related. So sometimes, actually most of the time, you need to increase the quality a bit. 16, 24, 80, sometimes they go up to 82 and so on to get a better quality, because it has something with to preserve the conversion of the fire smoke to the fire itself and so on. So it's a mouthful, but that's what in it for us, it's quality. So play with the quality. Here the steps are important, especially for a faster movement. So by default, you can, as you have noticed here, if we start to resimulate, so it simulates one frame by one. So step one step. So for each frame, it simulates one time. But when the movement is fast, so if we have this ball, like moving, let's go from here and let's move it up to maybe something here. Okay, so now if you select and we delete, okay, and resimulate, come on, you can do better. So you can see sometimes it's sluggish. Stop, delete, here we go. So now you can see that we got some movement here. And you can see the steps, like the fire is not looking. So you can see it's looked jagged there. We can fix this problem with increasing the steps. Of course, it will cost you a lot of time, because it will simulate 3 times in one frame. Sometimes it's not cooperating. Okay. It will give you a better result, because it will simulate between one frame and another frame another 2 times. That's it. So you can see already the difference of the smoke. It was like jaggish, but we got less jagged. Of course, here is the fire because of the size. It is not accurate at all, and of course the cells, we need to decrease them a bit. Okay, that's all for the dynamic. So here are the properties of you can play with. What we need more: input, output. So dynamic, the fuel, we have already used it. It works only with the fuel if enabled on this one. We have the scene interaction, nothing here. Output, so this is where the cache will be saved. And of course you need also to output if you need anything else than the usual, if you need velocity, fuel, and so on. Output, input, so the input here, don't play with the input. If you want to import and so on, I usually don't play with it. Let's go for the preview. We have already been here, so this is the preview on the screen if you want to preview the smoke and so on, but of course you need to disable the GPU preview to see the elements that that contributes to create that fire, which are here. So as soon as you disable the GPU preview on the this one, GPU, so you will see the elements contributes for the fire. We got the smoke and we got the fire itself. That's it. Okay, that's it for this section. You see, it's simple. No, you don't even have a lot of parameters to play with. Now we need to get to the render. So the render is the most important tab, because this one controls the final result or the final look of your fire. This is about the look of the rendering, how much fire it emits. So let's put let's put very okay, come on, you should be V-Ray. Let's go for V-Ray Air. Okay, that's okay. Make sure we got fire. Of course here we need a bit maybe of rendering, so it helps. Yeah, of course. So you can see we got like self-illumination is quite high. So this one is controlled by our friend here. Of course we need maybe to limit the render a bit like this, and we give it a render progressive volume light. Okay, so that's my bet, and you can see, so let's go here, stop. So this is the fire, and we got like a light burning. So we go to volumetric options, and here we got the settings for the look of the fire itself, for the smoke, and for the smoke opacity we got a different tab, because kinda you can push it to a complex level. So we got this two for smoke and this one for fire. The one responsible for the illumination is fire illumination. If we reduce it to 0.5 here, at least, because the scale is not correct, this is why we are seeing this with now. Okay, you can see we have already reduced, but even though if you have done a great scale, we won't get that problem here. So we got reduced the scale. Of course the look of the fire is so horrible, you wanna cry here. Of course you can see it even here, it's horrible here. So why should it look like great here? Because of the dissipation, the smoke dissipation, and the cooling is a bit high. This is why. But anyway, so this is why you control the look of your fire. So self-illumination, here you can change. Of course here we can go like to this one and look at it. So you can see we are playing with the look of the fire. So you get a look and so on. Of course the simulation needs to be at least satisfying, so you get a better result. But here, while you play with the fire of the smoke, you can disable the smoke here from the rendering, so you will get no rendering of the smoke. So this is why it's smart to simulate with the smoke, and if you don't need it, you can go and disable it. So constant color, and here the intensity of the color, you can make it like darker like this, or okay. So here where to play with. So we got this one, so you can see here fire, smoke, and so on. That's the look. And here I want to show you something. So here we got rendering. Here you got some presets. So if it's a fire, just click and say yes. It will give you a look of, you know, a pre-made fire for you. Maybe you will like it, maybe not. Okay. So this one, so you can see it's better than what we had. It's only fire, but of course you can go in and go to smoke, and let's say simple smoke, and of course we can go to opacity and we play with the settings. So even though we started with pre-made, you can come here and alter here. You can even play with the settings. Maybe if you don't like it, you can change the color. You can do a lot of stuff here. Okay, you can do a lot of stuff here. Okay, let's now you will see that of course it's a bit high. Why? Okay, because this one, of course this is due to the incorrect scale that we have missed there, but it's okay, we can cheat a bit. So let's go here. So we got our fire here and smoke and so on. So you got this one, help yourself with, it's really helpful. So if you go like preset, so we got explosion, just yes, it will give you a look, a closer look to an explosion and so on. So we got gasoline explosion, it will like look, you see here it looks like gasoline and so on. So this is the most important features, and I forgot one. So if you go to the object that's emitting or any object that inside, if you click, you got here Phoenixfd Properties, it will give you this tab. If you want, because if we put like an object, okay, let's do this to make it like full crash course here. If we put an object here without anything, let's make sure that it's above it. Of course, let's go here, let's go and simulate. So now you will see that the smoke will interact with this one, smoke and fire and so on. So you will see that we'll get something like boom, it started to interact with this one, which is really awesome. But sometimes we want to force it to ignore. Okay, sometimes we want it to force it to ignore. So we say like object here, and we say no solid object. Of course, sometimes you want to clear the inside, you clear the inside from those parameters. And sometimes you want like the object to be heavier than it looks, so you can specify the mass here. And there is something here, if you want the object to interact with the scene, because this one is moving, it will like affect this one. But if you want this one like to move slowly, let's do it, I'm like imagining it. If you want this one to be like this, let's put it here. Okay, let's bring it up, let's bring it down, let's bring it up somewhere around there. Okay, so this one, if you don't want it to interact, we just disable this one, so this one will do not interact with. Let's make it smaller, and this one won't interact. Okay, now if you stop, delete the cache, okay, and we simulate. Of course, we got 3 steps anyway, it's going to be a bit heavy. So you can see now it will like hit. Some lags, it's okay. So it's kind of like it's interacting, but here it will ignore this one. So you can see this one is being ignored at all. So no interaction. You can see the fire, and here is like it's not there. Okay, let's stop it. And of course now you can see this one here, it was kind of like quick, and the fire got like stuck inside, so we can just go property and clear inside from anything. Okay, sorry for I just hit the microphone. Okay, so now the fire should not go inside. So those are the most important parameters. With those you can do everything related to fire and so on. You can create a volcano, you can create big fire, you can create small fire. You play just with the settings here. So you can see here, the inside is clear. But if you want the impact to be a bit bigger when here, when especially let's hit here, if you want the impact to be more bigger or more strong, we can play with the motion velocity. Let's make it to 25. Okay, just for the sake of demonstration. Okay, let's stop it, delete the cache, and here we go, rewind. Of course, here we got those. I forgot to mention. So you can see. So the fire got pushed so hard, it's kind of boom, exploded here. So you can see. Okay, let's stop burning the CPU. So you can see here, it's kind of like, it's so strong, it pulled it to it, and then it pushed it like boom. It's so strong, it's like it hit the ground and started going up and so on. So you can see 25 was like a lot here. Okay, so you can fake this one, especially like spaceship going through dust and so on. If you want the spaceship to push the dust away more dramatically, you can increase this motion velocity. Okay, so of course here we forgot to mention, those are like helpers, you add them. So this is like, you got some wind, you got some turbulence, you got this PRT to import the exported particles from external plugins like Terflow, or external packages like Kakarot. Kakarot, I don't know, I have never used it. Okay, so we got here some turbulence, someone, so to help, of course, to shape the external look or to add external impacts for the fire. Actually, that's all for the crash course here. The same thing applies for the liquid. It has its parameters, viscosity and so on, but that's it for here. Oh, and of course I want to give you as much information as possible, but I don't want to be like long here. Okay, so here I want also to show you one last other thing, which is, come on, let's select this one, stop it, delete. Okay, now we got nothing. We got this pre-made, so these are presets here. This is if you want like select an object. Okay, we can delete this one, select an object, and we want, what is this? This is a fire. Boom, you click fire and boom, it creates like, okay, let's do it from scratch. Okay, so it creates like a fire for you. It gives you like a box, a grid. Of course it will expand and it adds a turbulence here, and also it creates everything ready for you. Just click simulate and boom, you will get the result there. Of course it's a bit heavy, you need to check the grid cells. Okay, not that, but it's a bit heavy. Okay, so you can see the settings are a bit high, but this is it. If you want like another type, so let's just delete the cache, remove. So here you can just click and add an explosion. So this is really good for set up burning fuel. This, it will use fuel. This is explosion simulation. You will just click, select the object, then click, so it knows which object to select. Of course, let's make sure that we got at least like 50 centimeters, at least something we get. Let's delete this one, and then we click this one. Of course, so you can see even the grid is bigger, and this is, it will give you a more accurate result, of course. So you can see we got an explosion here, boom, without doing anything you will get that really awesome explosion. Of course, then it's really good to start with something here and then you alter it. So you go to fuel dynamics and you see the parameters. You can see it's nothing, just the quality is a bit high, and so on. Multipass is only one. I will increase it to more because it's fast. So you can see here it does not use fuel, but we got something for the fuel. The output, you can see RGB and smoke temperature, and for the preview you can see it's already for you there. And for the smoke you can go for the fire, and you see that you got some look here for you. So you can see we got really good explosion without anything else, okay, just using the preset. So this is a good way to start. But I was obliged to explain to you the different options, features, because you need to change. If you need to change, you know where to go. At least you make the difference between the grid and the fire source. At least if you think that it's going too fast here up, so you can go ahead and reduce the outgoing velocity, but you can see it is animated, so it gives you that burst a lot, and then it goes down to 21 centimeters and so on. So it gives you that look here. That's it for it. So every parameter is animatable, so you are under Mac, so you see just enable this and have fun with it. Try and have fun until you feel like comfortable and accustomed to that plugin, and boom, you are ready to go.